Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Legacy Leaders. Today, Scott McMeans, yours truly, is joined by Angie Dodge of Moxie Virtual Solutions. Now, probably figuring out it's not AI, although she's pretty intelligent and she's not artificial, but she's really good at what she does. She is a virtual assistant and she has an entire staff of people that, for lack of a better word, are your better half. They are the brain that you need to get things done. So when we talk about some things today, Angie's going to explain what exactly is Moxie Virtual Solutions and what's the Moxie Method. But we're going to talk about some of the challenges and what are the lessons that she's learned over the course of her building this business over 6 years that you can avoid and you can learn firsthand. So, without any ado, I am going to turn the microphone and camera over to you, Angie. Tell us your
Oh,
story.
oh
How
my
good,
goodness.
what you do.
Oh, what do we do? So, yes, 6 years in, accidental entrepreneur, came from the corporate world as an executive assistant to C-suite executives. And in that space, I figured it out. It's like 1.34 executives a year. And I learned how to, no joke. That taught me how to be a chameleon. I will tell you, that taught me
Mhm.
how to problem solve. It taught me how to partner with different types of personalities. It's definitely something that I walked away being the winner on, I will say. But in that space, I really learned how to partner with my executives, and that has served me well in the fact that I learned how to, I learned what their priorities were. I learned what their strengths and their opportunities were, and how to play against those, how to level them up, how to level their team, how to um, get the best out of that executive so that their team was the best, and it became a win
Mhm.
across the board. And I've taken that into this virtual space. So I've taken my experience. My reputation was, if you want something done, give it to Angie. I just had it. I think it's in my DNA that I just know how to get things done, problem solving,
Love it.
creative solutions. You figure it out, you fake it till you make it, all of those things that we hear on a daily basis. I think maybe I was born to be an entrepreneur now that I'm saying this out loud, because I've done all the things that
Yeah.
entrepreneurs do my whole entire career. But I took that experience, I took that reputation, and I brought it to the virtual space. And here I am 6 years later, third different name, Moxie Virtual Solutions. And if you know what the word Moxie means, it means that we got some sass to us.
Yeah.
We got some spunk, we got some grit. And I love that. And it's an old school word that you don't hear very often. But it really does describe myself and my team, because we love to truly jump in. We're very relational. I couldn't be any other way with my clients. I share with them in every discovery call that your business is my business. That's exactly how I feel about it. And I want your business to be successful. We all do. And so we bring in these amazing, smart, savvy assistants to partner, not just assist, but to
Yeah.
serve and to partner with our clients to really find, figure out what are their needs, what is it that they need help with to get them to the next level, or to give them more time back so that they could be spending more time with their family or doing hobbies, whatever that looks like that they are feeling. And that's what it is. It is a feeling. And this is something that, I learned the hard way, Scott. All these business owners feel the pain. They feel the
Yeah.
pain, but they can't articulate it.
It's crazy,
And
right?
yeah,
No,
well,
it is. As a small business owner myself, there's so many different things we encounter, we deal with, we have to handle throughout the course of the day. And somebody like you, Moxie, coming in and saying, listen, I know where the pain is. You may not be able to tell me, but I've been here. I've done that. I know exactly what most people in your shoes have had to deal with. Let me take a look at what you do. And you can actually help them out. One of the things that we talked about before we got on air here, I really want to dive into like your Moxie process, right? Because we were kind of saying it's like a white glove service, but I want people to understand what is Moxie method. What does that mean to you, so
yeah.
people can understand? This is what I get when I dial up Angie to get her and get you and your team on board with what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Explain to us a little bit about what the Moxie method is.
Yes. So I love this story because it it really developed over the course of time, but it really became a process and a method, if you would when I lost a really great client. One, it broke my
Mm.
heart. But let me go back a couple steps here, and we do call the Moxie Method our version of the white glove service. And I say white glove service because in that sweet C-suite space back in my corporate years, that is the kind of I was raised to be a good hard worker. My family,
Mhm.
that's I was raised to do my work well. And I always feel like I kind of gave a white glove service to my executives. I went above and beyond. I did the things that nobody else would do. I figured out what had to be done to make this person successful in this role. And to me, that was my version of white glove in the corporate space. And that's what I know. That's what I was comfortable with. And that's what I bring into this entrepreneurial space. But when you think about the word Moxie and you think about white glove, it doesn't necessarily resonate because you think of white glove being super clean, super, just elegant or, whatever, the actual white gloves serving on a silver tray. Well, we're not wearing the white gloves and we're not serving things on a silver tray. However, we have created a process that gives a white glove service approach. And that is our Moxie method. And the Moxie method is basically an operations audit, if you will. I hate the word audit, but it's an assessment. When we come in and we ask you every question we could possibly ask you, we dig into your CRM, we look at your social media, and then from all of that information, we create an amazing roadmap of your gaps. And you can either take that information and go DIY it, or you bring us on as the helpful, the team that's going to help fill those gaps and create the processes, the SOPs, provide the assistant or the assistants, depending on what that looks like, to help, fill those gaps and get your business turned around. And what I love about this whole Moxie method is it literally came from me, number one, not doing my job.
Mm.
And number two, losing a very, very important client. And I share this because this client was more than just important. This client represented everything that I thought my business was. So
Okay.
this particular business owner was local. We found ourselves in the same professional circles. We have been doing a dance. I say this like for 4 years, where when are you going to be ready for us? When is this going to happen? I see what you're doing over here. I watched her through LinkedIn. I stalked her basically on LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, come on, when is she going to be ready? Well, lo and behold, let's go back a few months, back in January, I think February, when it gets, you have nothing to do but watch movies on a Saturday night. I got a notification that she was ready. She went through the process of booking a discovery call with me, and she's like, Angie, I'm so ready. I know where my business is going. And I leapt off that couch. I was like, I'm a winner. I made it. Like, I feel like I could have just closed my business doors on that day. I was so excited. Finally, we were coming together and working together. It was the best day ever. And not only was she ready for us, she was ready for the full on 80 hours, what we call a platinum client, 80 hours a month of support. And for context, the average busy business owner could easily use us for 30 to 40 hours a month of admin support. She wanted the full 80. So that was like, oh my goodness, I have it still on my calendar over here that I have on my wall. Signed our first platinum client. So we get her signed up, we get her a great assistant, only for 2 months later for her to call me and say, Angie, I have to go down to 40 hours. My business isn't going where I thought it was going to go.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, ugh, that's awful. It's awful on so many levels. It's awful for you. It's awful for my assistant. It's all, whatever. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, you'll turn it around. You'll turn it around. That was my thought, right? Only for 2 months later to lose her completely. And I sat in that moment for a long time because you have to, as a business owner, you really, really need to think of all the things. And in that moment, I realized that not at any given time did I ask her any questions, clarifying questions. Why do you think you need 80 hours of support? Where are you in your business? And I did not take a deeper dive into any of that. I was so excited and so overwhelmed about the possibility of us finally working together that I ultimately lost her.
Oh,
And from that moment, I sent her, we keep in touch and I told her, I was like, look, you are probably one of the most important clients we've ever had at Moxie. And it's because she saved my business. Losing her saved my business. And from there, we created the Moxie Method where we do, before we bring on any client, we do this process, whatever it looks like.
yeah.
It could be a smaller version, it could possibly be a bigger version, depending on the size of your organization and your needs. But we truly tap in to your pain so that we can articulate, so we can come back to you and say, okay, here is what this looks like for you. This
Yeah.
is exactly where all of these, what you're missing in your business. Here's how we can fill the gaps. Here is the plan. Here's when these things are going to start to happen. And you get it all in front of you so that you know what's about to happen. You know what you're paying for. You know the type of team that we're going to bring in to help support you through all of these different steps.
Well, one thing I think this is profound in how you were able to just redo the business and find a way to protect yourself, right? So I look at this as this isn't unique to you in in Moxie Virtual Solutions. It's not. What you did, and I want people to understand, when you're running a business, you have choices, and the choices you make are based on what you know, what you believe in, your values. When you are faced in a situation like you were, you're humbled. You have a constant reminder of what is possible, both positive and negative, right? The possibility of this amazing account and also the possibility of, Jesus, being let down so bad, right? But when you're humbled, you kind of have to reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing the things you're doing. So you have two choices there, right? Angie, you could have folded and said, all right, I'm done. I'm going to just close this business down. Or you can take the values and the beliefs and the structure of who you are as a person and say, I'm going to regenerate my business. And through this process, I'm going to develop a system that not only protects me from never having to deal with this again, but allows me to pinpoint, laser focus, identify the clients and opportunities that I want to go after. And if
Absolutely.
they don't fit this system, I'm not taking them on as a client. If
Mhm.
they do, by all means, we're going to give them the best white glove Moxie method approach to making their virtual assistant reality happen.
Yes.
I love the idea of this, and this is a business lesson not unique to you and what you've done with Moxie, but it's a lesson that every business owner needs to have in their back pocket when, for all things considered, when the fertilizer hits the ventilator, right? When
Yes.
stuff happens, how are you going to react to it?
Right. Right.
And this is a very powerful lesson I want everyone to pay attention to as we talk about the point of power, right? How do you make decisions? How do you address life? Or do you own situations? Do you take accountability and responsibility? Or do you point the finger at everybody else and lie down and just take it because somebody else is to blame? It's that mental makeup that allows you to be better than what you were yesterday and step into the role that says, all right, we're regenerating Moxie. We're just going to change who we are. And I
Yeah.
love that for you as a lesson.
Yeah.
And the fact that you recognize her as a client is the most important client, not because she does any generating any revenue for you, but she is the person that changed your business to be the success it is today.
Hmm.
So kudos to her, and thank you very much for her contribution. But I think because of that, how many other companies have had the benefit of her poor experience that you now can help them, like we talked about before, identify the gaps that you can close and identify the opportunities that you can open up so people that run businesses can do what they're supposed to do. Again, nobody went to a bank, got a loan, and said, I'm going to start a business so I can work 90 hours a week and do all this tedious stuff. Nobody does that. What they do is they have a vision of what they want their business to be, and you're helping them fulfill that. And I
Yeah.
love what Moxie does.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. A great lesson. It's a great lesson wrapped in a really big challenge that you had. And again, it's not unique to you, right? This was if you think about time, money, people, motivation, you had a problem that was people. Like you just didn't understand and connect to your people well enough, whether it was internally or externally. You didn't connect to your clients and didn't know what they were doing. And that's fine because you learned from it.
Yeah.
It'd be, Angie, it would be a completely different conversation right now if you didn't learn that lesson.
Oh, well,
Because
we probably wouldn't be having the
right,
conversation.
right, we wouldn't be talking about this stuff. It'd be like,
Right.
Angie who? I don't know what she's
Yeah.
even done.
Yeah. Well, and here's the awesome thing. I don't believe my time with her is over. I believe the relationship served its purpose in that moment. And but I don't believe that we're done. And I think that, I know for a fact that when she does come back around, it's going to look completely different for her and it's going to look completely different for us. And this is it's so funny though too, because I myself, it's really interesting when you provide a service that you yourself need. So it's crazy because one of the things I have learned is all I have to do is sit back and think about what am I dealing with to understand what all these other businesses are
Yeah.
also dealing with. And one of the things that I've learned is I know exactly what I don't want, but I don't know what it is that I do want. It's easy for me to say the things that I don't like in my business or how processes or things like that, but it's not as easy to say the things that I do like. And
Okay.
so one of the things that I've shared, our assistants come in and I share with them all the time, utilize your experience, utilize what you bring to the table by working with different types of business owners to help our clients understand, look, let's talk. Okay, I'm going to give you examples. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to do what I do best. And if you don't like it, you're going to tell me. If you do like it, okay, we're going to keep rolling with it. And that's one of the things that I learned is, we don't do anything magical. We really don't. One of the things I've learned is just really listening to our
Yep.
clients of what they're saying, but what they're not saying. And that's what we tap into.
Well, it's one of those old uh, tales, right? If you surround yourself with yes people, you're going to be yes into the bankruptcy court. If you surround yourself with people that are going to tell you what you want to hear, you're going to end up in the same spot. If you surround yourself with people that'll tell you what you need to hear, you'll be
Mhm.
successful.
Right.
And sometimes, and the two words I wrote down here was trust and candor. And I think that kind of, I don't know if that's something you personally would include in the Moxie method, but it's something I look to as far as a really interesting way of describing how is it that that works
Hmm.
is if you don't have the trust of the people you work with and you don't have the ability to be candid, the relationship's never going to work, right?
No, I
Because you're
agree.
the one that's standing there saying, you think you can get that done in an hour and a half? No way. Our experience tells us that's a 4 hour job. You can't get that done so quickly, right? Things of that nature. So sometimes people just need to be told what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And the one thing I want to go back to, because I think you made a really good point when you said I meet people or you talk about you're going to come around and get to that client one more time. What I'm thinking about is you said there's certain things about your business that you like, and there's certain things about your business that you don't like. And the reason why it's easy to identify why you don't like certain things, it's because you have an emotional connection to something you've already experienced, right? Versus the emotional connection to something that you desire but have yet to experience. It's hard to grasp onto the emotions of something you haven't experienced, but it's
Mhm.
really easy to say, I know I don't want this because I've been there, I've done that,
Mhm.
I don't like it. And I'll be honest with you, as a business coach, one of the hardest things it is for me to do is show people what is the possibility of the opportunity in front of them and allow them to savor in that moment of that's what it's going to be like. I can actually have that because they have a self-doubt because they've never experienced the joy. The comment too is you already know things you like or things that you don't like about your business, but it's hard to have an emotional connection to something that you want because you have yet to experience that. You desire it, but you have yet to experience it. So there's a very limited emotional connection to it. But the strong emotional connection is just something that you already have experienced. So, I definitely do not want that in my business. And when I think about that, I think about business owners across the spectrum, no matter what you do for a living, whatever your business does. There's certain things that you like, certain things you don't like. And what is it that, from your experience, you found that people don't like to do or don't like about their business?
Yeah, so it's funny because early on I realized for me, so um I find peace in admin work because it takes me back to my days, right? And it's something that I'm good at. So when I need to calm myself and my mind, I'll do my own calendar work, or I'll do my own email. But from a very early part of me growing my business, I realized social media was never going to be my thing. I don't understand social media. I don't understand why it works, how it works, why it doesn't work when you do, why you post too much, why you don't post enough. I mean, all of the things. That's where I felt my pain. But also, I'm virtual. So, guess what I have to do? I have to do social media. I have to. There's no way around. I don't even like to look at it on just for personal reasons. So, let alone, let alone do it for my business. So, right away, I knew I was going to have to hire help for this. I'm not good at the creating the content, so all the pretty pictures. I'm terrible at even responding to things on my own. So I knew internally, I was honest with myself. That was never going to be anything I did well. It was never, I didn't even want to try to do it. So I knew right away I was going to have to bring in support for that. And when I think about our clients, I mean, every day, Forbes put out a very powerful statistics, and I share this all the time because I love a statistic. It gets to everybody. Everybody understands a number. So Forbes put out a statistic that the average business owner who works 50 or more hours a week spends 62% of their time in admin and non-revenue generating activity. So
Oh,
60, more than half of your time is spent on things that do not move the dial, does not grow your revenue, does not impact your bank account. If anything, it probably impacts it negatively,
yeah,
right? And so I could ask all these business owners out there, and they'll nod their head, yes, that's me, that
yeah.
is me, because all of this admin work, it's important to your business, but it's not important for you to do it in your business. That's what you have to understand. And, time is money, and you're spending a lot of time doing something that is not making you money. So that's where you bring us in. And
No,
that's where we talk about that.
that's a solid point. And there's a philosophical approach that we take when we look at how do you delegate within your
Mm,
business. And it's if you're good at it, you like doing it, and it makes money, you should keep doing it.
right.
Everything else you should delegate, right? And it's not mutually exclusive in that you don't have to be good at it and like doing it because there's plenty of people that like doing, for instance, sales and they're not very good at it. Or
Hmm.
there's plenty of people that are really good at sales but just don't like doing it. You have to find those things in your business that you like doing, you're good at, and it makes money. As an owner, those are the things you should
Right.
keep doing.
Yes.
Everything else, delegate. Find somebody who's good at it. Find somebody who likes doing it. Find somebody who's going to do that while you can go do something else to make money. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what Moxie does is they give people the ability to unplug certain aspects of their business so they can go do the things that actually make sense to them, making more money in their
Yes.
business. With
Yes.
this unbelievable partner that they know, all right, Angie and the team at Moxie, they got it covered. I don't have to worry about it. And that's where that trust factor comes back into play,
Yes.
right? You've
Yep.
got this whole system that works because you got a great partnership. It's literally like hiring your right hand, but they don't work in the same office as you do. And there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that.
No.
Actually, in today's society, you really don't need it. So why not take advantage of people's ability to do what they need to or what they like to do for you? And
Yes.
you saying that you love to do admin work, that's odd because people don't like doing
Well,
it.
they don't. Well, that's where I find my comfort. That's where, this is the funny thing but this comes back to that whole delegation. I don't mind doing it, and it brings some sort of peace to me when I do it, but I still shouldn't be doing it now. Because
Yeah.
one of the things that I find as I move, I've moved into that space as a true business owner. I don't have time to manage my own calendar anymore. I don't have time to always respond to all of the emails that I have and that I receive. So I have my own assistant. And these are the things that now there are times where I'm like, no, I can handle it today. But then there are times where I'm like, no, I need you to jump in and take care of this. Um, and that goes back to even though I do it well, and even though I like to do it, guess what? The time just isn't there to do it effectively. And my
Correct.
thing is if you can't do it 100%, then don't be doing it. You're
Well,
doing yourself a huge I just think there's just something to be said for, doing what you do well in your business, growing it, doing all the things, and then letting go of those other things. Because if you can't do it 100%, then you shouldn't be doing it.
and I would agree, letting go of the things that aren't going to be generating money. And here's the
Yeah.
thing, if you're a business owner, you need to know your numbers. And if you
Mm,
know your numbers, you know where you're spending time and where your time is being spent wastefully. So let's figure out the best thing you can do is get in touch with somebody like Angie and have her and her team really regenerate your business from an idea of we used to
mhm.
do it this way. We're not going to do it that way anymore. We are going to have somebody be our
Yes.
partner so we can actually move forward with our business. And I love that idea. You
Yes.
are going to be shocked when I tell you we've been talking for over half an hour.
What?
Yeah, it goes fast. It
Oh my
goes incredibly fast.
gosh.
So with a couple minutes left, I wanted to ask you one final question.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you in a time machine and send you back to talk to 18-year-old Angie. You two get on a park bench. What's that conversation sound like?
Oh my gosh. An 18-year-old Angie. Um, what would the conversation look like? Don't worry about getting married right away. That can come. That can wait. My 18-year-old self was so hung up on that that I feel like that became my main objective in life. I could have waited a few years for that. Also, um, I think too would be I don't know, pain. I find when I was 18, I was so wishy-washy. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really care that I had a million jobs. I was always worked. Um, but when I went away to college, I I did not value education like I do now.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I went to college and got a different type of education. That's where I took different types of classes. I did well, I didn't do well.
Hmm.
I left early. I didn't finish school until I was much older. Um, but just to really, do some soul searching and come out of that, really, my confidence as a woman, I feel like our confidence goes back and forth just depending on, different things and knowing that I was going to be okay, understanding that then, like knowing that I was going to be okay
I
would
love
be
that.
good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how far we go in a short period of time, or in my case, a long period of time, from 18 to now. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, look how far I've gone, I've traveled, but I wouldn't change much. I appreciate you giving me the insight to that. Um, Everybody has a different journey, and I love the path that you took. And thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to share your challenge, because
Mm.
it takes some kudos and some cojones, Angie, to say my best success, it comes from a challenge of I failed, but yet look what I did out of that. And I thank you for
Hmm.
that, because I want other business owners to realize just because you stumbled doesn't mean you lost the race. Get up and run. Let's
Hmm.
go. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see everybody on the next episode.
You're welcome. It was great being here. Thank you.